Hey everybody, this is Nikki, and I am back with another video that is my personal experience, not to be used as medical advice. I've been thinking about this one for 7 months or however long I've been on the pump, and it has just yet to be an issue yet. But then, not last night, but the night before, it actually happened. So I figured I would get on. It's not a complaint. Maybe it's a complaint. I don't know, maybe it's a complaint, maybe it's a heads up, but it's just kind of an awareness that this can happen, and it's a very interesting design for an insulin pump. And in fact, I would go so far as to call it a design flaw. Basically, it is the perfect storm. That's the way I see it, and it has to do with your 2.5 hour minimum delivery being kicked into Safe Basal, and if you do not respond within your 1.5 hours of Safe Basal, being kicked out into manual mode without suspends. And of course, manual mode is full insulin. It's no longer a customized basal rate. It's now just your full, which is a heavy duty basal rate sometimes. And of course, this happened at 2:30 in the morning. And we put in a phone call to Medtronic, I don't know, 5 months ago or whatever it was, asking them whether or not we understood this correctly, my mom and I, asking whether or not we understood this correctly because it seemed odd, and their response was just, yes, yep, and yep, that's it, and it's okay, not to worry about it. So I haven't worried about it, but I have thought about it, and as I said, it did happen the other night. So here is the scenario. Let's say between, I don't know the exact times, and I did not bring my charts, but let's say between around 12 and 2:30, I was in minimum delivery. Now, I have no idea why my blood sugar was pushing down the way it was, but it was pushing down, clearly. And so it's also why I like being in auto mode overnight, because it has really hit the brakes on hypoglycemia for me, and for that I'm grateful. And that was the case the other night. So for 2.5 hours, I went into minimum delivery, which is basically no insulin whatsoever. And then I was kicked into Safe Basal. I didn't hear any alarm for Safe Basal because my pump, I wear it on my waistband, and at night that's under my blanket. So I didn't hear it, and I was in Safe Basal for 1.5 hours. Now Safe Basal is still up in the air for me. I'm not really sure how safe it is, and I don't mean that it's not safe. I just mean that it's an undefined basal rate. It's not auto mode. So, but it's also not your regular manual mode, program basal rate. I've tried calculating it, and so far I've hit about 70% of what my program manual mode basal rate is. So I'm guessing Safe Basal is kind of a conservative basal, and it's probably, for me, maybe, this is based on 3 things that I've calculated, maybe it's about 75% or 70% of my regular rate. So the only reason I say I don't know how safe is because it depends on what I need at that time. But anyway, it could be referred to as conservative basal. We'll do that. So my point is, I went to 2.5 hours of minimum delivery, 1.5 hours of Safe Basal, and then there was an alert saying that I was being kicked out of auto mode exit. I missed the alert as well because I was sound asleep, because at this point it was 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it was. When I did wake up, now in this case it wasn't long afterwards because I don't sleep very long. There's, I've got 3 kids and diabetes and all kinds of things that kind of keep me waking up, periodically over the night. When I did wake up, my blood sugar was a 62. Okay, like that's not the end of the world. And as I said, everything that my 670G did over those last couple of hours prevented me from probably hitting a 32 or whatever, whatever I would have been. And that's fantastic. But when I did wake up, what I found myself in was full manual mode, no suspends, and a low blood sugar. And I just think it's an interesting design that they have, that if you have been kicked into Safe Basal for a minimum delivery, and a minimum delivery is your pump trying to help you prevent a hypoglycemia, so you're trending down, and then you go into a Safe Basal for 1.5 hours and do not respond, then the end result is that it kicks you back into manual mode, full insulin without a suspend. So yes, I could have put a suspend on had I been awake. I also could have entered a blood sugar, or I also could have had a couple sugar tabs, or whatever it is. It's just an interesting thing. So That's it. It's the perfect storm. That's what I think it is. And I was very lucky the other night that it was a 62. If I had slept another half hour, maybe it would have been a 52. I've had far worse crashes, but you do go at night kind of thinking that you have this safety net, and that safety net disappears under those conditions. Interesting. So that's it. That's my spiel today, and I'm going to go do other things now. Thank you very much for watching.